Okay, 5:01. Call the meeting to order. Let's see. Let me just. We were so. So I wasn't here last month. Were there were minutes?
Yes.
Send them out.
Send 'em
They're
out.
short and sweet.
Short and
They were
sweet.
I wasn't there either.
They were sweet, particularly sweet since you guys weren't there. No, we had a good meeting. Didn't we? Yeah.
And you were vice chair.
Covered all kinds of stuff.
Nice. Good for you.
This guy
Self-appointed.
runs a tight meeting. Let me tell you right now.
Yeah,
A lot of experience.
5:12. It was over.
A lot of experience.
5:12? No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Read the minutes.
Scott is a tough taskmaster.
Yeah,
Let me tell you.
Good. Tune
All
in.
that licensing experience.
I feel like we're ready to go.
Alright.
Okay. Was there a
Send the
summary?
minutes out?
Yeah.
I've been known to have 15 minutes.
So.
Yeah.
Does anybody make a motion to approve?
Motion
this?
approved.
Make a second.
Um,
All those in favor?
all those in favor?
Alright.
Aye.
Abstain?
Abstain.
Okay. Got that, Tim?
Got it.
Okay. So anyway, CS, it wasn't here. But we did have a couple items on the agenda for tonight. Tom Garino from the Greenfield Housing Authority was supposed to be here to speak about some replacement windows. And he's stuck in traffic. And reached out to me, and I talked to him on the phone just prior to the meeting. And basically, in a nutshell, I have some of the documentation, but the windows are replacement windows for replacement windows.
Where?
It's it's the Morgan Allen House, which is
Okay.
419 Main Street. You probably
Right.
know it, right?
Yeah.
It's right
Yeah.
here in the corner.
It's in the East Main Street district.
Yes.
Yeah.
But from what I've surmised, that these are replacements of the replacements.
Yeah.
And they're not looking for any start tax credits or anything like that. They just want a letter of approval from us.
As I said when I was talking to you before, that house has been renovated. So I don't know how much of the original house is there. Do you know, Margot? I mean, they've added a whole thing on the back of it. And
Right,
Put
but
in-
the front facade's pretty
the facade's
in
okay,
place.
but
I mean, intact.
I mean, these windows are these windows going to be any departure from the style or?
Let's see. These being the replacement type windows, no flange, remove existing interior casings and reinstall afterwards. Remove existing aluminum replacement windows entirely. Existing wood frame to remain. Install new double hung north wind replacement windows. Reinstall interior wood casings and touch up the paint.
Sounds like a minimal effect on the appearance.
It sounds.
I can't tell from what you're saying. You have to look at the window.
Yeah.
So I would make a motion that we do that,
Yeah.
send a letter.
Oh.
I
I mean, there are a lot of aluminum windows in this world, and a lot of them don't have very well-defined buttons, or I mean, they wouldn't be acceptable to Mass Historic. A lot of them wouldn't. Maybe these are.
Yeah, and I
So what we need is a photograph of the existing window
Oh.
and a picture of the replacement window.
A spec and
Yeah,
a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And until we have that, we
Before
wouldn't
we
be able to
check
tell
out
if it was
these
going to
windows.
change.
Yeah, I mean, and what he
That makes
sent me is cost list, and unless I'm not seeing it, because he sent it to Eric, and Eric forwarded it to me. So let's wait on that.
Well, if there's a time element to it, what
Yeah.
we could do is we could deputize somebody, probably I think there's a female in the room, who could look at just saying, who has extensive design experience, who could look at the pictures and decide for us. You want me willing to do that?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Deputize Margot?
Yep, that
You are
seems
so
like.
right, deputized.
Just because there may be a time element.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly
yeah.
what I was going to suggest, Tim. Is that
Or as Jackie
Margot put
Gleason
you in
says,
touch?
dead
Yeah.
If
man's
you could just send all that stuff.
I'll send it to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
and said he was supposed to be here, and I'm not sure
it got lost in an email or not, but all I'm seeing is just like the cost.
Satisfy yourself that it's not gonna radically change the appearance of the facade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have a lot of power in our law.
No.
It's in the National Register, and everything that's done to the exterior is supposed to meet the Secretary of Interior standards.
Right.
But we can't stop them.
Yeah.
The only thing that would stop them is if they're getting any state or federal funding
Yeah.
to pay for those windows, which
Right. But
I would imagine they
I wouldn't
are.
assume
Yeah,
that
I
it's
would
gonna be a
imagine.
problem, I just make
Yeah.
sure it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did say,
Since they came to us.
Right.
it doesn't seem likely that sample installations for viewing will be ready for June 1st.
Oh,
So,
Good, so they're ready to do a sample installation.
It sounds like it.
I mean, they're willing to do a sample.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, yeah,
There we go.
But you'll forward me that stuff.
I will, yeah. Thank you, so we'll
Sure, happy
proceed
to
from
do
that, and I'm sure it'll be fine.
Thank you for doing it.
So I'll just bring it to July's meeting.
Yeah.
Or I'll approve it unless I don't like it, and then I'll bring
Yeah,
it.
prove it, just tell us.
Or I don't think it meets the Secretary
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Interior.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right,
Try not to get drunk with power, Mark.
Once again.
Yep. I'm gonna let that one go. Okay, let's see, demo applications, I had 23 Robbins. Does anybody know where that is? Extra credit if you do.
Yeah, really.
That's up behind
Office.
McDonald's on Mohawk
Wow.
Trail. Yeah,
Wow.
is that house that's been for sale for like
I think
don't know,
so,
3 or 4
yeah.
years now? And
Horrible condition, yeah.
I think I don't know what it's zoned as. I think it's commercially zoned, which is why it's it's been like an exorbitant price for like a really crappy
Oh.
little house because I think it's commercially zoned. I don't know for
Did they
sure.
run a spa? Is that the one that ran a spa?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I
but
think
they're
a
gonna put
water
the-
pipe broke and ran for about 6 months in there.
Aren't they? Isn't that where the other
The Aldi?
food store is?
I believe it's. I think.
going?
I think so. I would imagine that it's part of that deal, but
Yeah.
it doesn't. They don't tell me that. But anyway, there's nothing historic about it, so that was
Okay.
kind of a.
An easy inspection.
Oh, is that on the right as you're going, just before you're going up the hill?
It's like literally behind the McDonald's, between the McDonald's and the Friendlies.
Oh, okay. I know
It's
what it
actually
is,
a
yeah.
On a
street.
dead end street.
It's
Yeah,
the dead
yeah,
end street.
Yeah, the
Right.
candlelight used to be
Mhm.
up there.
Right.
Yeah,
by-
there's two or
by-
three.
By the
There's-
candlelight, yeah.
2 or 3 houses in there
Yeah.
where they were.
Okay.
Anyway,
And then the other one
I
was
try not to go that far.
Mhm.
yeah, was 368 High Street, which was the old garage that was in front of our tire,
Oh,
Which is-
right.
as you
Huh.
probably noticed.
So
It's gone
Yeah.
already.
It's gone.
Where they had the bio fuel.
Yeah, it
place.
was like an automotive garage. It was kind of an oddly placed thing. So
Yeah.
It was a horrible building.
yeah. So that
Yeah.
was also another one. I was like, yeah.
So that's another case of why you don't get it.
Well, you know what? Honestly, I don't. I'd rather know than not know, and I think
Yeah.
that's why they sent it to us. I have no problem with that.
Absolutely, yeah.
It doesn't take me long to
right.
check it out, and
Right.
and who knows. Anyway, so not a big deal. I have nothing else really on the agenda specifically. Does anybody have anything?
Yes. Peter Miller Award.
Right.
So here's what we need. We decided we're going to do that. The problem we're in right now is that we need to write a release that lists the projects, and I have no way of getting that information. I don't know where to turn to.
All right.
I mean, I would
got it.
if I had the information, I could write the release, but I have no way to where to go where I could list their major projects.
Okay.
And I did check out, and apparently Barbara is still using Zacchio as her last name.
She's not.
Yeah.
She is not. It's
What?
Nichols.
Well, that's her maiden name.
Yeah, she's using that.
She is using
Yeah,
it.
that was part of my information to share. Was I did connect with both of them.
Okay, great.
Um,
I got some bad info then. That's good to know.
I do have
and
So you want me to reach out to them and get a list of projects?
Just a list
Or
of stuff, and then if we have that basic information, then I'll be glad to write the release.
I think that we can get this together for next meeting.
Yeah,
No problem.
absolutely.
Mark said thank you. Let me know what I need to do.
Yeah, sure.
So that's where we're at right now.
Great.
All right. So this cool. Thank you for following up on that because it was on the agenda for a long time, and I know last month I wasn't here, so that's why it was off the agenda. Margot.
Right, I just wanna, as a FYI, that, there was some demolition going on at the armory.
Oh.
And I asked some people why it was going on without without,
Letting us know.
yeah, I mean, they need to come up with a plan
Yeah.
This is
and,
exactly why we're supposed to be on that list.
right.
Huh.
So, what I heard was they weren't authorized to do anything, and in fact, they were probably doing some things that weren't quite up to snuff.
No.
So when you say they, who are you talking about? Who's
The
they?
new owner,
new owner.
the owner who bought it from the state. And, the city has tried to get plans from them about what they wanna do
Mhm.
and have not been successful. And there's just been a lack of communication all around.
That
So we're
doesn't
not the
sound
only ones out of the loop.
Yeah.
But I
looking
informally said,
Mhm.
well, it's a historic building,
right. At the very
it has
least,
to meet.
at the very least, it has to pass us.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
That's not
exactly.
somebody's garage. That's
No.
a high-profile place.
That's
right.
Absolutely. So,
And-
and I thank you. I mean, I think part
So
of
if anybody else hears anything, we'd like to
Yeah,
know.
sure.
Well,
Sure.
I'll
Well,
send an email to the mayor's office and see if they know anything about
City
it.
needs to get on that and get that.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
will
problem
email
is
them.
that MJ has now retired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where, anyway.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a replacement yet,
Yeah.
Right.
So that's probably why
and
there's
it
a lag.
won't have one.
But still, that's
Quite a while.
but that's a building inspector.
Yes.
Yeah.
That too.
It should be.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
That's
she
not
was
the
a-
mayor's
Pro forma.
office. That's a building inspector.
Yeah.
Who's supposed to be paying attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So when's that date from? When was that built? That armory? Do we know?
Good question.
What do you think?
I could look it up.
1880s?
I think early 1900s.
1900?
Yeah. What did
Before
you say?
World War-
1880?
Yeah, I was just kind of guessing.
It might be
19
World War One.
I would like
Yeah.
right before World War One.
Yeah, 1905, something like that.
Right.
It looks kind of like
Right,
that.
or it might even be
Yeah.
post World War One. I don't know. It's that
I remember parking a tank up there.
they had a tank.
Well, because
You parked it. That
I
sounds like.
actually
Wait a
won.
minute.
I actually won a. No, actually,
Was it like a big
it wasn't
Chrysler
a
or
tank,
like an
it was a
actual-
personal carrier.
Personnel there.
And they parked it on the side between the building and there's a brick wall
Yeah.
that abutted and they parked a couple of personal carriers there.
Yeah.
And I won a contest from the recorder.
Yeah.
That you could that kids could drive that.
What year was this, Doug?
This was like 60.
1910.
Yeah, right. Oh, you,
No,
you
no.
found it. Okay, good.
Two different things.
You're
Anyway.
fast, Dave.
67.
Yeah,
67.
he's 67.
Yeah.
Right. 1910. We were both right.
M116.
Seemed like
Yeah.
that. Anyway, well, that is good looking out, and I think that's a heads up to everybody.
Yeah.
Stuff happens, and and
Yeah.
we don't know, and
Right.
and they throw us. It's like they let us know about the stupid stuff, but then stuff like this happens, and I'm like, what the heck, Anyway.
And I have another item that I think the town owns this house that's next to Green River
Oh, yeah.
School.
Yeah.
And they say they're keeping
No,
it
that's-
for record storage or something.
No, it's not.
Crazy
That's
thing
a.
like that.
I even got I did get a house about. I got an email about that.
Oh yeah?
Asking if we had any interest or involvement of it. And so the story is when the Museum of Industrial Heritage first started, it was
right.
was
That's right.
loaned
Yeah.
for the use of the museum. And that's where the museum started in.
Right.
Mhm.
It's town property. when the Tool Museum moved out in
20
15 years
years
ago,
ago.
at least.
Mhm.
It's been empty ever since. It's in horrible condition. Nobody's done literally any maintenance there at all.
Right,
It's probably a
it should
total
be
demo project.
sold.
Yeah, but maybe, sure, but it's like sort of like bounded on 3 times.
State Armory, built in 1910.
Yeah,
See,
that's
Dave?
what Dave said already.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so it's
I was close. 5
it's
years.
surrounded on 3 sides by the school, which is also uninhabited, by the way, right? And who knows? It's just going to be a little piece of parking lot.
Yeah.
I think in a
Well,
few
I mean,
years.
There's such a need for housing in
I-
this town. That,
Yeah, but nobody's going to take an
well, if
old
they
house
could
and
buy
turn
it
it
for
into something.
$50 and
I know.
renovate it for $100.
We don't do that here in America.
No, we just take their taxes.
They did it. They did it with that
Maybe I
house
should write a
on,
letter to the
Oh,
two
no. where the road goes down under the road.
That house.
Down below, that one that's right on the corner there on Hope Street. Remember that? That was a wreck too, and they renovated that,
Oh,
and
I
it's
do.
being used now. That one that's right on the corner.
yeah,
Yes.
I do that.
And they did a nice
Right,
job of
that's an
that.
example.
Yeah, it took them
Yeah.
a couple of tries.
Uh-huh.
They renovated
Right.
it, then they re-renovated it.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, well, I mean, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
And
It's
But
yeah.
but it belongs to the town right now. Actually, probably the school department,
Ooh,
I would think, because
maybe
it's
they
on,
could sell
it's
it
on
for-
school property. Well, I don't know.
I think
Anyway,
it belongs to the
yeah.
town. It's not
Yeah, I know. And it's come up. It's come up before that people have talked about it, and there's lots of places honestly that are empty or abandoned or whatever. I'm sure if we went around town, we all could find places.
Yeah.
And not that they're owned by the town, but that is a thing, and it has no function in terms of us or the Tool Museum or any other museum at all.
No.
It's not a museum. It's just an empty house. There's nothing in it.
So would a letter to the mayor saying, we need to see a house being, I don't know.
It's not
Should we
really-
not poke our business?
It's not in our bailiwick.
I don't think it's
Okay.
under our purview unless it's historic.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I can
housing
certainly.
people should do it.
They should be
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah,
Next time you see a housing person, tell them.
Yeah.
Tom Perino.
Yeah. When he comes in, tell him.
But and
Amy
then I
Clark,
have one more
right?
item.
Okay.
Okay, one more item is that
This is why the meeting's
Eric
longer now.
and I have gone through the workshop for the survey and planning grant. And there's a timetable and there's, anyway, Eric and I are working together. We probably will get to the point of advertising for consultants in August and then hire whoever we can in September.
Right.
And so if you know of any people that might be interested in this consulting job, it's
So,
up
so,
to 50,000. No,
Right.
it's 40,000.
right, so the only thing that concerns me about that whole project is that the final product is gonna be a database,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be online. But that database has to be a database that people can actually use, not some lowest bidder database that is impossible to understand or whatever. There are a lot of really bad databases out there,
Yes.
and I just want to make sure it's one that people can use to do research,
Right.
and they can get on and they can use it, and it's not one of these ones that's just awful. Because I know of at least half a dozen databases that you couldn't figure it out if you had the manual sitting right there and you were
Yeah,
trying to,
I get you.
there's some awful ones that just, they're not intuitive, they don't
Yeah.
use the GUI. They
It's
don't
not
use-
just about storing the stuff; it's about
It's gotta be
accessing
usable.
it.
It's
Well,
gotta
I'm
be usable.
pretty
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
that Mass Historic will have standards because it has to click into their system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all the forms and all the property
That's fine.
inventories will have to
Sure.
be
And if it's
uploaded to
compatible
their
with theirs,
site.
that'd be great.
it
I
will
just
be.
don't want a lowest
Right.
bidder.
Right.
That's all.
Well, they did say that there aren't enough consultants for all the work that's out there.
Yeah.
And so you want to make your scope of work sound really interesting and
Mhm.
attractive and special, and that it doesn't matter if people are from not from Massachusetts, if they're from somewhere else, because this what they said was most of the research, almost all the research is done online. And then I pointed out that we have a huge amount of inventory material and
Yeah.
all that hasn't been digitized.
That's right.
It's Peter Miller's
You
whole
gotta be able to
thing.
read his scroll. Yeah.
Right, so that we will need somebody on site.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we'll have to make
Right.
that clear.
Yeah.
Did Peter, the Historic Society got the money from CPA to do
Yes.
Yes.
the digitizing of his?
Of his collection.
Of his collection, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the status of
Well, and
The
and
disbursement
Moorhead,
is
you
not
know, the
yet.
Moorheads are working on that.
Oh, okay.
They're the ones that are
Cool.
working on it for the society.
oh, nice. Well, that's good.
Now, how that ties into the grant, I don't know, but I do know that Bob and his wife were working on that, and they've taken on that task for the society.
Cool.
Not the woman that is the
Andrea.
executive. Yeah, Andrea.
and no. These
No,
guys,
not-
they actually
Yeah,
followed.
May.
They actually followed the Peter Miller material to the society instead of
Cool.
the other way around.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should maybe give them a heads up.
I think you should, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me put there is a calendar schedule of what's going to happen.
Oh, if you
when.
told-
I'll bring that to the July meeting.
Yeah, or just
Or just
email
Can I
Bob. We've got his address there because he was on our list.
Yeah, RK more.
Email
Yeah. No, but I mean, are you guys interested in the schedule?
everything. Everything's in there, from chewing gum wrappers to posters to
Maps.
maps
Postcards.
to
There's tons of information.
every kind
about
of
properties.
and
I
well,
would say.
When I did the
yeah,
inventory
photographs.
in '87 or something like that, Peter's handwriting was on everything.
Yes,
He had done all the inventories before that.
yeah,
He knew all the references. He knew the maps.
And
He was
kept all that
complete.
material.
Well, we've got it.
Yeah, in town.
Wow.
We've got
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
You're talking about the
Historical
survey.
value
We've got all
building,
that.
too.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
But his personal collection went to society, and that's what they're cataloging.
Right.
But they, it's just like everything that, I mean, if you had a program for the 1953 celebration of the birthday of the town, right?
Right.
So you have a brochure, right? Well, Peter would have 25 of those,
Right.
not just one. So that kind of stuff. So had everything.
Massive.
Yeah, he had everything.
And one of his special things was photographers. So he had this vast collection of information and photographs
Oh,
of
wow.
photographers from Greenfield.
Wow.
Samples of their photos, the name, things about them, their biography,
Wow.
the whole business. And he wrote a whole bunch of stuff about the photographers in Greenfield. And he had samples of all their work and carte de visits and all that kind of stuff. So
Amazing.
Yeah, huge collection.
and stereo views and postcards,
Train
And-
stuff.
Hmm.
etc.
Oh, yeah.
etc.
Big into train stuff.
Every time I passed him, he would always tell me because he knew my mother and my mother's boyfriend of 17 years, who was an auctioneer or something to do with that, and he always said, "Your mother's boyfriend is a piece of work. He won't sell me this piece of work, and he's a so and so."
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
No, he was a good guy. He was a good guy. Funny guy.
Fanatic is what it means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walk like.
Anyway, so I did find the email from Vicky Baker, who's a building inspection for the town, and she emailed me in March. Hi, John. This property has come up on our vacant property list. We are checking to see if the Historic Commission is involved with this property, as it's referred to as a historical museum. Or should I be contacting the Historic Society?
No, right.
And I responded, "Hi, Vicky. The house is on the corner next to the school? ? It was used by the Museum of Industrial Heritage years ago, but it has been empty since. I believe it is town-owned. The museum may have some items in the garage." And that
There
You
might
know,
be some.
there was right. My memory was when we moved out of there, there was maybe a couple of old patterns or some, whatever, but nothing of any real, whatever. So,
So Vicky is who?
well, she's the one she's the DEC coordinator. She's the one who emails me about demolitions.
Oh,
So she worked for the
Oh.
building inspector. Yeah, Vicky Bigger. So I communicate with her quite a bit whenever we get like a demo request kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like you said, like somehow it got into like the whatever, the urban mythology of the town that like, because it was a little bit of a museum. We had events. We had events there back in the day. I remember doing lots of blacksmithing demonstrations
sure.
there, and the scouts went there,
Oh, wow.
and we had a lot of good times there. But
Yeah.
like, it's
Long ago.
it is long ago.
Right, very long.
It was in the long ago days now. So
What's the address of that?
77 Petty Plain. It's right on the corner in front of what is the old Green River School, which has been empty for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years anyway. So my son went there, but that was in whatever that was.
It was the Science and Math Academy.
Yeah, that's where my
Yeah.
son went there.
Before they decided that was elitist and decided they weren't gonna have that anymore.
Anyway,
Wow, it's right next to the
it's-
school.
Yeah.
it's kind of there. Anyway, so, but I do have a letter that this is from May 4th, received by the town by May 11th. This I just printed out. So this is for Anna Oltman, who is the Community Development Administrator for the town. Court Square Streetscape Improvement, Town Common and Court Square. Dear Ms. Oldman, thank you for submitting additional information for the project reference above, which was received at this office April 5th. The staff of the Mass Historic Commission has reviewed the information and submitted and has the following comments. The information provided indicates that the City of Greenfield is seeking federal community development block grant funding from the Department of Housing and Community Development, DHCD, to assist in the production and design of construction documents for streetscape improvements and the reconfiguration of Court Square in order to create a pedestrian area on the west side of the town common. The MHC understands that there are no improvements planned at this time. The MHC staff advise that this undertaking is a type of activity that does not have the potential to cause effects to historic properties, and therefore the DHCD may determine that the regulation applies to this undertaking. These comments are offered to assist in compliance of the Section 106. Please do not hesitate to contact me. Preservation, Josh Doran, Preservation Planner, Mass Historics. Anyway,
So they can tear up the blacktop and that's not gonna bother Mass.
yes, right. That's basically the thrust
You
of it.
tear that up and put bricks there and they'll be happy.
Who knows? There's
Yeah.
probably cobblestones underneath that. That are
Yeah.
cool. Nice.
Oh, there are.
They're right. They're right. Or train tracks.
Train tracks and dirt.
Mule tracks.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like I said, this came in after our meeting, even though I wasn't here. But anyway, so passing that along. The only other thing I have is I noticed that there's a pending sold sign for the Korean Zion Church next to the
Yeah,
Y
I
on Main
saw
Street.
that.
So I assume that will be coming before us soon.
Sure.
I'm not sure what the plan is with that really, but
The Y wanted it.
Why
for
want to
years.
tear it down?
They wanted it for years because that was the only way that they could extend.
Sure.
well, it makes sense why
Yeah.
they would want it.
Sure.
So,
So that was originally one of the Quabbin towns.
correct.
That's what I've heard.
Which town was it?
I don't know, and
It was Greenwich.
I was wondering if you knew
Greenwich.
Peter Miller.
I don't remember which one it was, but it was one of the towns that was.
For sure.
Right.
And it's just kind of interesting to me that like, why is it here? The Quabbin's kind of far from Greenfield. It could have gone to Belchertown.
Yeah.
Or Leverett or something.
Somebody here needed the church.
Yeah, I don't.
Cheap church.
Right. Well, so I think that part of it is, not that you want to do it, but somebody should really look into that, try to find out what is the story with that, because I really don't know.
Oh, it's easy to do.
Well, yeah, it's got an inventory form.
It's got an inventory form.
Well,
and it's-
who moved it and when? And
Well,
is it in the
Right.
Christian
recorder?
Scientist Church, but before that it was Baptist maybe. I'd have to look Methodist. I don't remember who bought it originally, but came with a bell. There's a whole bell story about it too.
Yeah.
I don't remember the details.
I mean, I guess I'm wondering is because it wasn't that long ago. It was the 30s, right, when they did the Quabbin.
Right.
So that must have been in the recorder.
Oh, yeah, and the
Some-
church,
so
the church
somebody
was
could-
older than that, the church went back.
Oh, yeah.
Right, the church is
Yeah.
older, but the,
And
but
I
it's
know
in the
they,
article.
I know they very carefully numbered all the pieces and took it apart. And
It's a
brought it
phenomenal-
here and then reassembled it.
It is a painstaking. I did go there and
Yeah.
walk around it,
Yeah, it's just like it was. When it
and
was
every
there.
little bit of trim
Yeah.
is intact,
Oh, yeah, it was
Yeah.
carefully
Everything.
reassembled.
all the way around back,
Yeah.
down low, up high.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Anyway, so
I mean, it's-
I did reach out. I did reach out to the Y. I didn't hear back.
Do we know if it's the Y that bought it? We don't know.
I don't know. I
Think so?
did not, but I think it's like
Well, if that's the case, then they're gonna have to figure out what to do with it. I mean, if they're gonna tear it down, that's gonna cause a lot of.
right. But I just, it's, he said it's not on the agenda, but it was something that I was kind of like in my head, and I'm thinking we should be thinking about it.
Mhm.
So
Get ahead of it.
get ahead of it.
Correct. Okay, well, let me do some
Well,
research.
I will,
You gonna do some research?
send around what powers we have, given that it's in a National Register district versus if it were in a local historic district.
Okay.
We don't.
Anyway, and I
But,
can
you know,
we
there's-
can reach out to
yeah,
MHC to find out what their thoughts are about it. But I don't know exactly what they're going to do.
Well, they're gonna read that it's significant and they're gonna say you
yeah,
can't
MHC
spend
will.
state or federal money on a project that demolishes it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's
Absolutely.
about-
The
that's-
MHC is absolutely going to say that.
Right.
It's kind of a no-brainer.
But whether they
Is
would
that
even
sort of that's sort of the import of it being in a national historical
Yeah.
district? Is
Yeah.
that, that's
It's
kind
an
of the
honorary
bottom line.
designation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a significant contribution.
But it's only comes into play when there's federal or state money.
Right.
That you can protect it,
Yeah.
otherwise.
Otherwise you can't.
So that would include like historic tax credits and all
Yeah.
that sort
Yes.
of stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, somebody needed a church. I mean, it was moved once. It was moved again. It's a beautiful little church. It's perfectly proportioned. It's a classic example of that kind of architecture. I mean, it is gorgeous in that it's a tiny little church. Who needs a tiny little church? I mean,
I don't know. I'll ask
I don't
around.
The zoning is kind of restrictive for buildings too, so. It's
Yeah.
hard to imagine what
Yeah.
people are gonna do with it.
well, I just think they're going to put a parking lot there.
Yeah, because the Y lost a parking lot with the fire department. temporary fire
Exactly. So
department.
I'm thinking they need a parking lot, and that's a convenient place for a wide parking lot right next door.
I think the Y's doing master plan kind of study.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, the Y is a little obsolete. And if you go there, it definitely could use a little whatever.
I'm not even sure if the Y can afford that building anymore.
Well.
Because this was, I was on the membership board of the Y 10 or 15 years ago. And that was when they had money
Yeah.
to buy the property.
Yeah.
Since then, the Y membership has declined severely.
Yeah.
And
Probably
I think that
too
means that they probably won't, unless they get some money coming from somewhere else.
Yeah.
They probably can't afford that.
I was on the board and I was responsible for maintenance on that building.
Yeah.
I was on the committee that maintained the building, so believe me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was just after do you remember when they raised all the money to build a pool and they didn't build a pool? Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was, so they were still in the shadow of that.
Yeah.
when I was
Okay.
on. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it'd be interesting to think what their plan is if they are the ones that bought it.
I will reach out and try to find out what I can.
Yeah.
Um,
In the meantime, I'll try to find out some history on that building.
yeah, I'd really like to know.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's all I have. Yeah. Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So adjourned.
All right.
5:35.
35.
Yeah.
Very good.
I know. Well,